Take one.
G'day folks, I'm Mick from Ironman. Cut! G'day folks and welcome to another Moment with Mick video. I am he, Mick. What a lovely comfortable chair this is. Today, something different. We're doing a viewer's question. This is a question which I get asked pretty often. It is a question which I have myself pondered quite often. And it is a question whose answer is evolving and changing. Let's get to the question. Are Chinese double cab bakkies as good as their Japanese counterparts? I want to buy a double cab 4x4 pickup and the prices for a new Japanese model are just too high. Ain't that the truth? There are a number of Chinese brands available at vastly lower prices. What is your opinion? Well, here's the thing. Bear in mind, this is just my opinion. My opinion is based on close on 30 years in the automotive trade, driving all kinds of vehicles all day long, every day. So I think it's a pretty good opinion. It's an accurate opinion, but it's not an opinion that may apply to you or your mate next to you. So it's just my opinion. Just bear that in mind. For those of you that are old enough, cast your minds back to the 60s when the likes of Toyota, a big Japanese brand, started making vehicles. And in those days, they took their vehicles to the USA, and they were that terrible that they had to change the name from Toyota to something like, I think it was Toyopet, just because they couldn't sell their vehicles. And they were often referred to as Jap scrap. Move on 25 years later, late 80s, Toyota were making some pretty decent vehicles. And nowadays, they're arguably some of the best vehicles made. From a reliability point of view, certainly that is the case. Later on in life, around the mid-90s, I bought myself a Korean vehicle, another Eastern vehicle manufacturer. Beginning of the 90s, they were okay. Roll on another 10, 15 years, and Hyundai vehicles are really, really good vehicles, comparable with the best in the world. Nowadays, we're talking about Chinese vehicles. Chinese vehicles have only recently come to the fore. Maybe 5 to 7 years ago, Chinese vehicles were not really spoken about. Today, there are a great many Chinese vehicles on the road. Have a look at a brand such as Haval. They're making some really, really decent vehicles. Why is this? Well, we all know that China is the manufacturing hub of the world. Pretty much everything gets manufactured there, or most things get manufactured there. They have a pool of engineering which is second to none. Major Western companies have big factories in China because the labor is cheaper. It's not cheap anymore, but it is cheaper. And China is such a manufacturing powerhouse that they have first dibs on most of the raw materials that are mined around the world. So it stands to reason that their automotive industry is going forward in leaps and bounds. In fact, they've bought up a good measure of reputable car companies. I can think of companies like Saab and Volvo. They belong to Chinese or Indian car manufacturers. So all that technology is going into those previously woeful car manufacturers. They're right up to speed now. But let's come back to the question of, should this guy, let's call him John Smith. We don't say any names on here to protect the innocent, so let's call him John Smith. Should he buy a new Chinese double cab, or should he buy perhaps a used Japanese double cab? And my advice and my opinion would be probably to stick with the second-hand Japanese vehicle. A good second-hand vehicle, one with a full service history. And I'm not saying this because I think that the Japanese vehicle is that much better than the Chinese vehicle. There are other factors at play here. One of them certainly being vehicle reliability and vehicle backup. In this country in particular, with travel distance sometimes between towns being quite far, having a vehicle with a very low distribution of dealerships could be an issue. If you break down in the middle of the Karoo with a Chinese vehicle, how far away is the nearest dealership that could assist you? If you do the same in a Toyota, if it does break down, the next town will have a Toyota dealership. So that is, to me, that is the deciding factor. Is what is the backup like should something go wrong? And I'm by no means saying that things go wrong with the Chinese vehicles, but in the real world, things do happen, and that is probably the main consideration. Another consideration would be the resale value of these vehicles. Japanese vehicles have very good resale values, and I'm chipping that the Chinese vehicles certainly do not. So buying a new Chinese vehicle, driving it out of the showroom, you're going to lose a lot of money instantly, whereas buying that second-hand Hilux with 60,000 Ks on it, 3 years old, very good service history, in mint condition, you're probably going to pay a lot less than what the new vehicle is, and when you sell it again, you're going to get close to what you paid for it. So there's that consideration. So I hope that answers your question. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. When we do more of these videos, you'll be notified. Thanks for joining. Take care. See you next time.